coming from someone who actually paid a whole fee as an international student, this is luxury. You get to travel to over 188 countries visa free, guys. Tell me what beats that? Nothing. It is such an amazing feeling to know that you can just go in and out of wherever you want to be, like really. And it's very similar to the UK. This is because both Australia and the United Kingdom, they are under the Commonwealth. Okay, so this is how it works for countries like Australia and UK, where you don't get citizenship by birth, but hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Joy. If this is your first time, please do not make it your last. Well, to subscribe so that you get notified when I post new videos. If you're an OG on this channel, thank you for coming back. Thank you for sticking with us. So very quickly today, I'm going to be talking to you about the benefits of becoming an Australian permanent resident. Yay! So I'm going to be giving you this from experience, because if you don't already know, I'm an Australian permanent resident by the special grace of God, and everything I'm going to be telling you here is from experience. Maybe not everything, but most of the things I'll be telling you, or most of the things I'll be sharing with you today, are from experience. Just in case I'm looking down, I wrote down all my points here so I don't miss anyone. So if I look down just now, I'm looking at my phone. Okay, so the first point is the liberty to travel in and out of Australia, however, whenever or whichever way you please. So when you get your Australian permanent resident, it is valid for 5 years. They usually would give you like a 5-year date. That is because within that 5 years, it is expected that you would have gotten your citizenship. Okay, so within this time, you can travel in and out of Australia. You can do however you please. There are no restrictions whatsoever, and that is such a beautiful thing, because I mean, you are now a permanent resident and you are now recognized in their system as one of their own. As a permanent resident, if you leave Australia and you don't come back for a long period of time, say 2 years, 3 years, or even 4 years, upon your return, you'll be required to apply for a residence return visa. Now, this is not long protocol. It takes less than 2 to 3 days for it to come out, but it is just to show that you've been offshore for a very long time and you're coming back. Okay, the second benefit of becoming an Australian permanent resident is that there's a guarantee that you become an Australian citizen. Now, this is not 100% guaranteed, depending, but all things being equal, that is if you don't have any legal issues, if you're not sentenced to jail. With, I mean, there are a bit of factors here and there to consider. As long as you're in the good books, there is a guarantee that after staying in Australia for 4 years, you are likely to get an Australian citizenship. Now, one of the criteria for the citizenship is that you must have lived in Australia for 4 years. Say, for example, you come into Australia this year and you get your permanent resident next year, you're not eligible to become a citizen. You have to wait your 4-year term for you to now be eligible to apply for your citizenship. Okay, now I don't need to tell you what it means to be an Australian citizen. The benefits are enormous. You get to travel to over 188 countries visa free, guys. Tell me what beats that? Nothing. It is such an amazing feeling to know that you can just go in and out of wherever you want to be, like really. The third benefit of being an Australian permanent resident is that from the time that you become a permanent resident, any child you give birth to automatically becomes a citizen. And I know this is a bit tricky, because unlike other countries like the US or Canada, where there is citizenship by birth, whether you're a permanent resident or not, Australia is quite different, and it's very similar to the UK. This is because both Australia and the United Kingdom, they are under the Commonwealth. Okay, so this is how it works for countries like Australia and UK, where you don't get citizenship by birth. But in Australia, once you become a permanent resident, your child automatically becomes a citizen if you give birth to them after you become a permanent resident. How cool is that? I know, right? Another benefit of becoming an Australian permanent resident is that you're eligible for student loan. Now in Australia, schools are usually free from 0 to secondary school level. So after your secondary school, which is the high school, you're expected to pay for your uni, right? Now you are eligible to get student loan, which you can eventually pay later when you start working. So be it undergraduate, master's, PhD, whatever advanced program you're going for, you're eligible to get that student loan. And the body responsible for this is the HELP program. So it's HELP. I'm going to put it here. The HELP program. These people make it very possible for you to attain any educational level you want, as long as you are an Australian permanent resident or a citizen. And eventually, when you're done with school and you're settled, you can gradually pay back this loan. Those in the health sector also get scholarships where they get free trainings that are under the company, no matter how expensive the trainings are. As long as you're in the health sector, you get scholarships to do these courses. Those in the health sector sector also get scholarships to help them train for the job. Say for example, you're working in the hospital or in a family setting or a community setting, there's certain courses and trainings that are free for health workers. You don't have to pay a dime. These courses are expected to help you perform your job well, and they could vary from courses in mental health, community services, and so on. So sequel to this point, another benefit of becoming an Australian permanent resident is the subsidized school fees. So if you're an international student coming into Australia, you're expected to pay the full fee. Say for example, you're running a master's program, which usually the fees range from $10,000 to $18,000 depending on the course you study. You're expected to pay the full fees, except of course you're given scholarship, but otherwise you're expected to pay full fees, right? But if you're an Australian permanent resident or citizen, you would definitely get a subsidized rate. You're probably going to be paying just 30% or 40% of the entire fee, and that is a good benefit, I tell you. Coming from someone who actually paid a whole fee as an international student, this is luxury. I can tell you for free. Another benefit of being an Australian permanent resident is getting access to free medical services. Here in Australia, it is called Medicare. So Medicare is a sector of the Australian government where you get free medical attention for maybe not everything, but most of your medical expenses. They also cover for GP appointments and other crucial medical appointments. Now, it is not 100. They don't cover everything. They cover a substantial amount of the bill, which leaves you to paying little or nothing at the end of the day. And in some cases, you go to the hospital and for whatever reason it is, you're expected to pay maybe out the whole money out of pocket. The government would reimburse some of the money back to you, which is a very good thing, because the idea behind this is for the government to support you medically as much as possible. Like I said, they do not pay 100, but they pay a large sum of it. Another benefit of being an Australian permanent resident is the first homeowners grant. Now, a few years ago, it used to be $15,000, but as at 2024, the first homeowners grant that the government gives to you when you build your own house. Now, this is not for when you buy it, is when you build your own house from scratch, is $30,000. Now, there's a condition to it. So the condition is that whatever you're building, be it a mansion or an estate or just a living home, as long as that house is where you're living in, that is where your family will live in. It's not an investment property, that is where you're going to live in. You're going to be eligible for the $30,000 grant on the condition that whatever you're building will not exceed $650,000 to $750,000. So if you're building a house and the sum total exceeds $750,000, then you're no longer going to be eligible for it. Like I said before, it has to be your living home, and you must have lived in that house for at least 12 months for you to be able to get that benefit. I mean, $30,000 is not change, guys. I think it's really cool because $30,000 is not cheap, right? It's not cheap. It's a lot of money. So that is one benefit that I'm excited about, because why not? Another benefit of being an Australian permanent resident is access to Centrelink. Now, Centrelink is a government funding where you get free or almost free social help. And by social help, it ranges from childcare subsidy to NDIS supports to unemployment benefits to maternity or paternity leave and a host of other benefits that you can get through the Centrelink. Now, terms and conditions are applied. You need to know your condition and what fits best to you. I'm going to put the link below so you can assess it and do your research on what fits you and how best the Centrelink can support you. Last but not the least, a very wonderful benefit of being an Australian permanent resident is the ability to sponsor your family members to come to Australia. And one of the ways you can do this is through the subclass 103 parent visa. That is, if you're inviting your parents, if you're inviting your friends, your family, whoever you're inviting, they have the advantage of coming into Australia simply because you're an Australian permanent resident. How cool is that? That is so cool. I mean, this is not to say that other people cannot sponsor or invite their family members, but as a permanent resident, you have an edge over those who are not. Okay, and that's that on my list. Thank you so much for watching. If you stayed till now, thank you so much. Please do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, because by doing that, you're telling the YouTube algorithm that you like these videos and it will share it to as much people as possible. Do not forget to share with your loved ones, your friends and your family, anyone who you know or who you think will benefit from this information. Thank you so much, guys, and until next time, bye.